Hey, welcome and welcome back to the channel once again, my dear internet friends. In today's video, I want to talk about a lens that made me fall in love with it within minutes of using it. You probably guessed what lens it is from the title of this video. I may not be the most eligible person to talk about the SIGMA 200mm F2.0 DG OS sport lens from the sports photography perspective, but I'm super excited to talk about my experience using this lens for a day at the SIGMA Touch and Try event organized by the EC MALL and SIGMA Thailand. I captured some amazing photos of models in indoor conditions using my Sony A7C-R. When I went to the event, my target lenses were the newer SIGMA 35mm f1.2 version 2 and the SIGMA 135mm f1.4 lenses, and the SIGMA 200mm f2.0 lens wasn't even in my radar just because it is heavy. I did try my target lenses and my videos about them will follow this video. Here's me being super excited at the event trying them out. So this is a touch and try event where we get to play with all these SIGMA lenses for Sony and L mount, and we are going to have an amazing time. I'm more interested in the newer SIGMA lenses, that is the 135 f1.4 and the 35mm f1.2 lenses. It's going to be an exciting event, and this is organized in a well-lit studio. Everything is prepared very well for photographing models, portrait, and lifestyle, and it's going to be an amazing event trying out new lenses from SIGMA. Since there were only limited amount of E-mount 35mm f1.2 lenses, I decided to give the 200mm f2.0 lens a try. Instantly, I felt the heft of the lens, but surprisingly, it reminded me of the snuggly 70-200mm G Master lens. Once I started taking photos using this lens, man, I was instantly drawn into the magical photos it produced. Alright, this is, of all things, a portrait lens like nothing else. I see why some photographers are so obsessed with the Nikon 200mm f2.0 lens. It is just magical. Some would still consider the Sigma 105 f1.4 lens to be the bokeh monster, but for me, this is it. Let me start to talk about the lens from its obvious quality, the sharpness. I don't think I need any more sharpness than this. The micro contrast levels are impressive. It is close to what we get from the G Master lenses. For portraits, I'm actually reducing the texture, clarity, and dehaze to get some dreamy looks. I can show several examples, but I think I made my point. I like the highlight roll-off from this lens even in harsh conditions. The colors are punchy and the rendering is beautiful. The autofocus is adequate for taking shots even when the model moves. I could freeze a frame with the focus on the eyes time and again. Every time I nail focus, the photos are extremely detailed. I wasn't testing the lens for sports, but I think it will perform close to the 70-200mm G Master lens. I have no complaints in regards to the autofocus performance on this lens. What I like the most about this lens is the subject separation and the bokeh quality. The autofocus areas are rendered smoother than butter. There are no distracting backgrounds. Every frame is so magical. I'm not a seasoned portrait photographer, but with this lens, I was able to get some amazingly pleasing shots. Being built like a tank, it is a heavy lens indeed. Weighing about 1.8 kilograms, I initially thought I wouldn't use this lens for a long time, but I used this lens 50% of the time, disregarding the 135mm f1.4 lens, which I thought I wanted to test the most. I just didn't want to keep this lens down, as the photos I get from this lens are just mind-blowing. Weight isn't an issue if you need the output. Regarding the lens flaws, I didn't quite see any chromatic aberrations, but there could be some in extremely harsh lighting conditions. There's a tiny bit of ghosting wide open, but it really doesn't affect the image much. Overall, I'm impressed at what this lens can create. I've never used such a lens in my lifetime, and I doubt I will ever buy such a niche lens. Yeah. It is a niche lens as it is specifically made for such portraits and sports photography. I should thank EC MALL and SIGMA Thailand for organizing the Touch and Try event where I got to experience this bokeh madness. If there is one thing that this lens could improve on, it is the ability to take in insert filters like the Laowa 200mm f2.0 lens. Although the Laowa lens is not as sharp, maybe a tad bit sluggish in autofocus, it is lighter, has lens insert option, and is half the price. I actually value the hit rate and sharpness, so I would go for SIGMA if I need such a lens. That's it for the video, folks. Hope you enjoyed my sample photos. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to get notified when I drop the videos on the 35 f1.2, the 50 f1.2, and the 135 f1.4 lenses from Sigma. Peace.